All my life I felt I was born to be great. I had to do something that would change the world. I still don't know what it is, and I probably never will, but I'm here right now. I gotta do what I came here to do, get what is mine, and make money I never had.
Welcome to another episode of Social Impact Conversations with myself, Nhlanhla Shabalala, Mfana kaMshego, Nonake Idonga likaMavuso. Social Impact Conversation podcast is a platform and a podcast where we sit with change makers, creating and shaping our communities through advocacy, action, and purpose. And today is no different. My guest is the owner and the director of Lebo Soweto Backpackers. She is a tourism entrepreneur, community advocate, and cultural connector. Welcome, Maria Westlund Malepa. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Just also, before we start this conversation, please tell us, how are you feeling today?
No, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Maybe a little bit all over the show. I have a few, balls rolling at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Nice one.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously for the first time, the Social Impact Conversation is not at home. So we are here at Lebo's Backpackers. But with that, how you are feeling, we have an analogy of the rainbow. So out of all these colors, what color would you say best represents how you're feeling today?
Okay, without really having a definition of the color,
Yeah.
I think, let me put it in orange. I'm feeling orange today.
All right. Okay, let's quickly check what orange says. Right, so orange speaks more about creativity and collaboration.
Okay.
And for change makers, orange symbolizes innovation and people-centered solutions, finding new ways to solve old problems, bringing diverse voices together, building partnership and trust, and sustainable impact is created through collective creativity.
Wow. Wow.
That sounds accurate. Lovely.
Well, yeah, it sounds like also a vision of what I want to be. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
beautiful,
so
beautiful. Right, just also then, just tell our viewers who Maria Westlund Malepa is.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess, I can give you a very short one or a long one. But yes, I am leading the team at Lebo Soweto Backpackers. And I have lived in Soweto in South Africa for 19 years. I am not originally from here, neither Soweto or South Africa. I am from Sweden, Northern Europe. And yeah, I had the privilege to come to South Africa more than 20 years ago, actually, or just about 20 years ago. And at first I was a student, and I fell in love with the country.
Yes.
I fell in love with, the prospects and the opportunities that this country, had and still have, I think, has. And I also fell in love with a man.
Yes.
And that then kind of, just was the decisive factor for me to actually move and relocate from Sweden to South Africa. And that's a little bit of me, and then since then I have been part of Lebo Soweto Backpackers, growing the business from, I would say still from its infancy, even though it was founded by my now late husband Lebo, and really been part of the journey to see what it is, today being actually a whole tourism hub and a destination in the country. So, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's true. Love always finds its way. Hey. So, obviously you mentioned your now late husband, Mr. Lebo Malepa. He is a giant. Literally, he is a giant. He is someone who has done great work within the township, especially in the tourism space. So, why do you believe that as Lebo Soweto's Backpackers, it's important to be part of the community and do social work within the communities?
I think you can't really exist as a business like we are if you don't.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe some do, or some try to do, but you can absolutely not provide a type of experience that we aim or that we are providing to both international and to local visitors, because you need to provide a safe and secure environment, you need to provide a homely environment, you need to be able to provide a welcoming environment, a vibrant, a cultural, experience. And if you don't have your community with you on that, it will be a very cold experience. So, and I think also the foundation of Lebo Soweto Backpackers, it started with community. It didn't necessarily start with business, it started with community. And so that was, one of the very strong pillars that kind of, was then part of the development and the growth of the whole project. So
love that. It all started with the community. But now obviously you are based in Soweto. What were some of the community challenges that you actually would say you witnessed at the infancy of starting this? I think it's a movement more than a business. What were some of the community challenges that you literally say, oh, we need to knit that one on the butt?
Well, I think also some people don't always understand maybe, the vision that Lebo had in the beginning. And I think that when you grow and you become more famous and popular, not everyone is positively with you on the journey. Some people would kind of, just, I don't know, send a little bit of negative energy on your way, but those are community dynamics that we haven't felt much of, but we know that
not
they are
there. Be happy for when you grow up, sure.
And some people have not always seen the hard work that Lebo has done, that I have done, that the team has done. Yes. Not understanding that we really started from scratch and Lebo started from nothing.
Yeah.
But then other challenges have been, being able to work around the space, and we want to develop the space, and then you're having various also government institutions that don't really understand or that wants to make it difficult for you, and it's difficult to work hand in hand. But those have been challenges that we've overcome, and instead it has actually produced a lot of support, from these very same community and government structures that I'm talking about. So we're not there at all now. We're very much, in collaboration with local community as people, and also as, various structures, organizations, departments, and so on.
That is amazing. So, and I'm sure, going back to community again, there is quite a lot of probably people around the area who actually got employed by Lebo Soweto Backpackers. So maybe just tell us about some of the impact stories around the community that you've witnessed, or some of your, I think you would call them highlights, of people and lives that you've changed within the space where you are actually based in.
Well, so first we do employ, as you're saying, a lot of people in the local community. So we currently have about 34 permanent full-time staff members. We also have trainees and interns, young people from our community that are not able to go into, bigger businesses in the suburbs, and can actually just find a business with an international footprint just in their own neighborhood, and actually get maybe an even better experience than all those big brands out there. But I think also one of the biggest impacts is that we work with a lot of local businesses. So, because I think with employment, there's always going to be a limitation, and also I think coming, this business having been developed from a very kind of risk-taking entrepreneurial journey, you know. I think the real development that you want to see in the community is, you know, young people standing up for themselves, developing also their own brands, their own organizations, and that we that have kind of traveled that journey and we are at a certain level, that we are able to hold hands with these people and collaborate.
Sure.
So we have, you know, we have local vegetable suppliers, you know, we from around the township,
yes.
you know, that go straight into our supplies of the food that we cook. A lot of our beverages and snacks in our bar is from local suppliers. You know, small businesses. Any other kind of service that we need that we can't employ someone for, we make sure that we use, you know, local brands, local businesses, and so on. So I think that's the success story of being this vehicle and being an enabler of, you know, other brands, other businesses that wants to do the very same thing to develop the township economy.
I love that. I want us, you know, you touched base on some of the challenges, including government, but I just want us to quickly go on a quick ad break, and then when we come back, we'll then just talk or touch a bit about the policies and the systems that are there in place. See you just after this.
All my life I felt I was born to be great. I had to do something that would change the world.
Welcome back from the break. I'm still being joined by Maria, who is and brings a perspective on cross-cultural collaboration, grassroots entrepreneurship, and the power of tourism as a tool for social impact. Just before the break, we wanted to speak about policy and systems. For you, your experience, how has it been, or how accessible has it been working with government departments?
Yeah, I think it's been a roller coaster.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes also what to be expected, and of course, I mean, there is a lot of compliance that needs to be ensured in a business space. But also, when you come to, like, you know, township-based entrepreneurs, I think from government's point of view, there needs to be a lot of kind of humbleness and guidance and mentorship, rather than just red tapes and asking for compliance and all of that, because we all know, you know, where a place like Soweto and the people in Soweto, where this place comes from, you know, and that it's actually, you know, and it's an area for people that was once displaced, you know. This is not necessarily an area that was conducive for people to live and work and develop businesses in. But here we are, and I think Sowetans today are very proud to come from here, because there's such a resilient and powerful history that sort of combines, you know, the identity of people from here, that I, even as an outsider, I feel I'm part of that, and I think it's beautiful, and that's what we want to share to the world. But coming back obviously to, you know, the challenges that poses is that, I mean, one thing, for example, is access to land, and access to property, and access to the rights of being able to develop a business. And when we're in tourism specifically, we know that you need land, you need space, you know. And if you look at, you know, how the tourism industry still looks in terms of ownership, in terms of geographical location, etc., we know that it's extremely unequal in the country. And of course, Lebo became, you know, he almost became like a poster boy for South African tourism and for the Department of Tourism, to say that here's black excellence, you know, here's township excellence. But there were so many hurdles that he had to overcome. I mean, one thing was just, you know, the beautiful space that you see outside, which is now a community park and our outdoor restaurant, and just a very nice space for both the community and our visitors to spend time in. And that's a type of space that you need to be able to be an attraction. But that space was once a dump site. When Lebo started over 20 years ago, that was a dump site. There was no attention brought to the space up until Lebo then started cleaning up the space. And when I, in the beginning of the interview, said that one of the foundation of this business is actually community, is that was his first project. Before he started the business, he started to clean up his community.
Sure.
And he brought with him people, and especially young people, in the community with him, because obviously a green, safe, clean space is something that is so valuable to not only the community as a whole, but to children and young people. So he did that as a project. It became now an open space. But I tell you, when you go outside and look at all those trees, not a single tree was there.
Sure.
All these trees were planted by Lebo himself and through support and by the team, and as the year went by, as we grew. And once it was all kind of up and running and it was really a beautiful space, we were actually told that we had to shut it down.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was a whole standoff actually between the community, and that's now the power of the community, and that's why the community means so much to us, because the whole community came out and defended Lebo and said that he needs to be able to continue running his business in this space. He has been the vehicle of transformation. And we are seeing the fruits of his care and investment and so on, and we are all benefiting. So that was a whole engagement with like city parks, the ward councillor, but the ward councillor was on Lebo's side, and city parks had been donating trees and other infrastructure to us up until they realized that this is now a park, but it's actually created by a private business, because you never cared about the land. So it was a whole debate, but in the end we won, and the community won, and they knew that there was nothing that they were going to do, because this was such an important infrastructure and space for the community. So that's just one example. But then, we've been trying our very best to always be compliant, and sometimes we've received support and guidance, as I'm saying, that it needs to be there, and sometimes we've just been slapped with you need to do this, otherwise we'll close you down. So,
I think, also on this episode specifically, because it's more of a business, you find that there's also NPOs that need to start getting, or that get land, but now the problem becomes the ownership of the land. As much as they're doing good for the community, but it's still vague if they own the land or they can shut them down. But I think, we're saying on the last episode that we need people from these governmental departments to come, sit with me, and just maybe give us the information that is needed out there. So let's talk about some of the lessons you've learned, as well as maybe some of the mistakes that you also did in business, because I know that it can never just be smooth sailing. There are obviously challenges that you went through, and some of the lessons like you've learned throughout the journey.
I normally don't like to say it's mistakes, but yes, definitely one would have gone through, taking certain decisions or gone through certain episodes in the business where you wish that things could have gone differently. But when you see yourself on the other side, you look back and you say that, this actually taught me 1, 2, and 3. So that's how I always look at it. And I know that Lebo looked at it very much like that, and he was a constant risk taker. He was the entrepreneur that made Lebo's Backpackers possible. When I came along, as I was saying, it was still in its infancy. I was part of employing the first person, and I was part of doing everything, in the business that we now have various departments and teams doing. But the idea, the risk was the idea was there, the risk was taken. The journey had started, and I was so inspired of coming on board on that. So I think that, Lebo would also have taken, certain maybe decisions and risks that didn't work out
Sure.
at first. You know, I mean, I remember that he wanted to introduce, you know, some few other, you know, tour options. I remember that he was trying to do like a collaboration with like a horse and cart touring in Soweto, which was quite interesting. It even got to be an article in Drum magazine, and this is like more than 15 years ago, you know. But it didn't really shoot off, you know. But I think it was like a fun thing, and it just what does that? Okay, no, maybe this one didn't really, you know. But let's stick to the cycling and the walking and the tuk-tuks like we're doing, you know. But I think also for me, it's been, I believe a lot in collaboration, and I was happy to hear that the color orange also spoke about collaboration. And that has also been, I think, my personal contribution into the business, to say that there's so many different structures that we can collaborate with. But I know that in my journey of, you know, of trying to understand like what collaborations work and which don't, is some mistakes along the way. So I've been a bit naive in thinking that in business you can also collaborate with, you know, and I'm not saying that you can't collaborate with other other tourism businesses, you can, but some, unfortunately, they are there a little bit just to ride on your wave and not wanting to be there just to add another piece in the puzzle for things to kind of like find that holistic kind of bigger pie, you know. They want to start eating of your pie. And that has been a hard lesson learned, you know. So I felt sometimes that, you know, I thought that we could work together and just elevate a certain experience, but only to see that other business kind of taking that and just, you know, doing their own thing, and then off they go. And
That is very interesting. That's very interesting. And you know, just speaking about Lebo, you know, it shows the resilience that he had. You know, he was a leader that was showing people how to do it. You know, I'm just thinking what you said, over 20 years ago, that was a dump site. He started cleaning it, you know. So how important, especially I think it also touches with some of the mistakes or the lessons you've learned, you know, how important is ethical leadership? You know, how important is it for a young leader or for a leader to actually, you know, not only talk, but then actually do, in the space that you are in?
Yeah, I think you have to, you always have to show by doing, you know, and when you start something, you really have to do all the grassroots work on your own, because once you then take a step further and the business grows, you know exactly where you're coming from, and you know exactly also, once also you start having a team, you know, whether it's an NGO and you're having a team with different positions, or it's a business and you start employing people, you need to know, you need to have been in their shoes, you need to have been there and done that. And and ethical leadership, I think it's, you can't get far without ethical leadership. Ethical leadership, it means transparency, it means honesty, it means that, you know, really what you say that you are that person, you are that brand.
Authenticity as well.
Yes, and you take responsibility for the people around you and the community around you, and you want to do good. I mean, it's a lot of cliches and big words, but you know, I think but to always be connected to the grassroots, I think that's important if you're going to be an ethical leader.
Love that. And just maybe, you know, yes, there are companies or businesses that would really give back to community. How important is for any business to give back to its community? You know, obviously not money, but what's your take on businesses giving back to communities, especially maybe where businesses that they are trading in or even surrounding townships or the communities?
No, because the thing is that you depend on your community. So if you're not going to see that as a symbiosis, you know, where you depend on each other, there's definitely going to be cracks in your organization down the line. So giving back is not supposed to be seen as something that takes an effort or that is not part of, you know, your ordinary work. It must be integrated in your model. So, and sometimes we battle with this actually, and it's not easy, because what do we mean when we say we give back to community?
Sure.
So yes, as Lebo's backpackers, we do identify, you know, organizations and certain areas in our community that is of extra need, you know, because we know the type of environment we are in. We have so many challenges, you know, and I mean, the big kind of pandemic in our country is unemployment and youth unemployment. It's such a ripple effect of a lot of kind of toxic things that we see. So you want to be able to give to that need that you see on the surface. You know, you want to be able to because now we have international visitors and they come and they tour these areas, and we also want to do it in a responsible way, not where we are just showing people that, oh, look at poverty, you know, so that you can go back to Europe and now you know what poverty means, you know. So it's also about like entering these spaces, engaging with people in these communities in a dignified way, and it's not always easy. And sometimes we also falter in a way, you know, so we always go back to our team and say that how do we responsibly engage, you know, how do we build these bridges of some form of cultural understanding, cultural exchange, how do we create meaningful meetings, you know. So yes, we can have, for example, a blanket drive, we can have a donation to, you know, to make things a little bit better in our communities. And that's good, but sometimes we must be aware that it mustn't be something we are just scratching on the surface and we just letting it, you know. So when we do that, we must also make sure that this is based on sustainable relationships, you know. So when we, for example, have a blanket donation campaign, we do it with a structure in a community that we work with on a continuous basis, that are able to tell us, you know, the needs in the community. So we don't just come there for that week and then we are gone. But it also goes to what more can we do, and what I was mentioning also in the beginning in terms of our impact. For me, it's really about also looking at economic vehicle of things, you know. Who do we have around us in our community that is also trying to make a living for themselves, and how do we partner with them? Or how can we use the space as, you know, mentoring and inspire young people. So when a young person in the community comes and say that, can I be a trainee? Can I, you know, volunteer? Then we make that possible so that they can take something, even if we can't create, you know, all these employments, because that's a limitation. What else can we do to, you know, just empower and get this economic vehicle, you know, running and inspire people, you know, for people to themselves go out there, take a risk, wanting to contribute to society, and
I love what you mentioned, that, you know, giving back, or businesses giving back, shouldn't be something that is difficult. It should be integrated in their systems, which is really a proper eye opener, you know. Because sometimes, you know, you find businesses are feeling that it's a must, but if it's integrated in who they are, how they run their business, it becomes, like you said, a continuous thing, not just a once-off. Because, you know, you find businesses out there saying, oh, okay, cool, it's almost financial year end, we need to go out there and give back.
Oh, it's Mandela Day. You need to spend 67 minutes. You know, and it's a complete unsustainable. And okay, I'm not against Mandela Day as such, but also, you know, we've seen so many unsustainable, you know, solutions just because we wanna
tick that box,
paint that wall so that it looks good, and it's not a solution. you know.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I think we are nearing the end of this conversation. So, any advice that you would give to young change makers? So, there's a young Maria watching and saying, I'm inspired by this. I would really, really love to tap into that space of business, that space of community advocacy. What advice would you have for that person? But just before we get into that, let's quickly go to a quick ad break, and when we come back, we'll just get Maria's advice to young change makers.
All my life I felt I was born to be great. I had to do something that would change the world.
This is Social Impact Conversations with myself, Ntlanhla Shabalala, where we sit with change makers. My guest today is Maria, and she is the owner and director of Lebo Soweto Backpackers. She continues to lead the business with the focus of empowerment, cultural exchange, and sustainability. So just before the break, I was asking you about what advice would you give a young change maker, a young Maria?
Yeah, it's to dare to take a risk. If it's something that makes your heart beat,
Sure.
and something that you feel it's something that gives you that extra energy,
Sure.
just thinking about when you see that vision of where you wish to go, and if there's passion in that, I think go for it. But then also just and seek advice from people that have walked that path before. But I think also you have to believe in yourself, in your own path, and don't copy others. Be inspired of others, but don't copy, and don't try and fit anyone else's shoes. Someone who did great things did them because they chose their own path.
Sure.
So you will never be able to actually achieve great things if you're gonna try and fit the shoes of let our giants be giants in their own right, the pioneers that led the way, the inspirations that is here for us today. But you fit your own shoes and you walk your own path.
I love that. You fit your own shoe and walk your own path. And as we near the close of this conversation, what is the vision for Lebo Soweto Backpackers? How is that? Where to from now?
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that, because recently we had a whole team motivational weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we closed the business for 3 days.
Beautiful.
Took the team to Johannesburg to enjoy, just a completely different setting.
Yes.
And for us to rejuvenate, come together as a team, and just to work on, what is our mission and vision, and how should we continue working together to, achieve further greatness.
Sure.
So so we contributed a lot together just to have a shared vision. And I think some of the kind of key words that came out with that was that we have to continue being a pioneering force in the tourism space. We have to be the example in this country of how to achieve community development and social impact through tourism. So that was very strongly felt with the team. And that's our vision.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And how can our viewers obviously then get involved? How can they support this shared vision? And where do they find Lebo's Backpackers?
Okay. Well, obviously, you can come straight and see us physically, which our address is 108238 Bower Street in Orlando West. So we are kind of right in between Msimhlope and Meadowlands, but part of Orlando West. That's where you find us, very easy to find. But socials, website is sowetobackpackers.com. Lebo Soweto Backpackers and Soweto by Bike. If you go to Facebook, Instagram, Soweto by Bike on TikTok, those are our main social media channels.
Nice.
We're coming up with a YouTube channel, but so you'll have to watch that space.
Love
And
it.
yeah, and you can reach us if you just get into our website. You'll see our WhatsApp line. So we try to take most of our inquiries through WhatsApp. But we're open, 7 days a week from morning till evening, so people can walk in, see the space, and yeah.
Love that. And then just also as we wrap this up, if you were to define social impact in one word or one line, what would you say social impact is?
Okay, I'll give you one word.
Okay.
Okay, rewarding.
Wow.
Yes. It's a rewarding feeling, and it's a rewarding result for any, I think, individual, business and organization.
Love that. Love that. Rewarding. Right. Thank you so much for joining me, Maria. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you for inviting us into your beautiful space. This is Social Impact Conversations with myself, Ntantla Shabalala. Umfana kamshengu, lonake idonga likamavuso. Let's meet on the next episode. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment. From me, I'm out.
All my life I felt I was born to be great. I had to do something that would change the world. I still don't know what it is, and I probably never will, but